All right, let's
ready?
roll camera, roll sound.
Turn this tube on real quick.
Okay.
Someone's caffeinated this morning. Someone's feeling sharp. Someone's feeling on. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. Eggs, onion, olive oil, potatoes is a delicious quartet. Is that four?
Yeah, four.
Quartet. Wow. We never say that. We always say trio. Trio is our go-to. Why not quartet? It's a perfect quartet of ingredients. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Home Movies. I'm Alison Roman. Today we're making a snack. We're making probably the best snack. We're making a humble dish of eggs with olive oil, potatoes, and onions. It is a Spanish tortilla. Like anytime I make a classic dish, I do like to preface with this is a version that I like, a version also that I think is going to be easy for you to make at home, which is always my goal. So I am going to be serving this tortilla with some Spanish peppers and some like little Spanish cured meats, maybe some anchovies, all shelf-stable pantry items, which you know that I love, and this gorgeous, gorgeous aioli, maybe some trout roe, just to kind of illustrate that this can be your centerpiece. It is vegetarian if you're vegetarian. If you're an octo-vegetarian? If you eat eggs? Nobody here knows. I was actually thinking last night that I like this as a bit where I talk to you and you don't talk back to me. So you tried to not make it a bit, guess what? Now it's a bit. I will say that most people probably making this dish are not really using a recipe. But just know that like the ratio, the thickness, the size will change based on the skillet shape. So you can always scale up or down a little bit based on this very basic ratio of potatoes and onion and eggs. So it's 1.5 pounds of potatoes. Every time I've ever made a Spanish tortilla where I didn't peel the potatoes, it becomes very difficult to slice because you're slicing into like 1/4-inch pieces. And then when you slice the tortilla after it's been cooked, the little rim of skin always like gets caught on the knife and pulls and makes the slices uneven. So for aesthetic reasons only, I'm going to peel this potato. And because it's only 3 potatoes, I can spare the time. This is about a little less than 1/2 pound of onion. It is sort of like a hotly debated issue of whether or not you should be adding onion, but to me, it is difficult to imagine it being as delicious without onion. I don't want to know a tortilla without onion, frankly. I've made these with Idaho russet potatoes. I've made them with tiny little fingerling potatoes. I don't know, I'm sure there is a wrong potato and I'm sure there is a right potato, but like, get a potato. I'm not worried about like any of the little bits of skin in the nooks and crannies. It's not the time to care about that. This knife feels very big, I don't know why. You could use a mandolin if you want. I guess it depends on how confident you are in your knife skills. If I had to grade my knife skills, I would give myself like a B+, which is not being self-deprecating, I'm just a realist. And I've been cooking for so long professionally, and like B+ feels good. So you want like 1/4 inch thick, I would say, is like a really good size. Hi. And again, if you are like, I feel good using a mandolin for this, then you should. Am I being stubborn by not just using a mandolin? Probably, but I feel good about that. We have like a good stack here. Boo. We have a potato intruder. This potato's breach protocol. We gotta terminate this potato. Since I started composting, I can't not compost. And the guilt I feel from throwing a scrap of food into the garbage and not composting it is monumental, and composting has changed me. I'm a changed woman. I would die for composting. I also wanted to do this video because my tortillas aren't perfect, but I enjoy them so much. And people often ask like, what do I bring with me when I'm traveling? I'm in the car, I'm going on a hike, I'm going on a picnic, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know that there's a better option than this. Okay. So we have half of our quartet. I'm not gonna stop using the word quartet. How annoying for all of you. The other day I made it, I used a different pot to cook my potatoes and onions, and I was like, I wish it were taller and deeper rather than wider and more shallow. Some people will do it directly in the skillet that they're gonna cook in, but I really do find that the deeper you can use a little bit less olive oil and things cook a little bit more evenly. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so it's potatoes and onions, salt, potatoes and onions, salt, potatoes and onions, salt. You know the drill. We are gonna cover it all with olive oil, but even this preliminary contact with the salt is going to help those potatoes especially start seasoning from the inside. You wanna sort of just like gently season the potatoes and onions before you add the oil to like give them a chance, give them a head start. All right, our potatoes and our onions are in this little cute pot, and we're gonna add some olive oil. 2 cups is a start. Sometimes I add more, but I always use it up. So again, don't look at this as like fry oil where you're discarding. This is oil that you're cooking in that will be deliciously flavored with onion and salt that you can then use to make aioli to serve with the tortilla, roast your vegetables, roast a chicken, cook your eggs, like do 100 things. So please don't panic. The idea is that you do want this to kind of submerge, which when you're talking about olive oil is a scary concept. I'm gonna need probably another cup. I'm gonna need 3 cups, and that's fine with me. This is kind of like when you do like chicken confit or turkey confit, or you like slow roast the thing, whatever. It's like, it's an investment in your future. This is like going to college, which I didn't do, famously. Okay. You might need a little bit more depending, but see how it's like almost submerged? Within 5 minutes, all of these potatoes and onions will be fully submerged. So like come just below the line. I'm going to put this on a medium heat until I see a bubble. I never want this to feel like it's frying. I never want this to feel like it's sizzling. I never want to see golden brown color. I don't want this to be a fry. This is basically poaching in olive oil. You're doing low and slow. The goal is not color. We're not making french fries. We are making a Spanish tortilla. Okay. I'm gonna go 7, I'm gonna go medium high just to like get it going, but you do wanna make it gentle and slow. It is sort of a long process. This whole thing will probably take 45 minutes or whatever, but like the hard part is done. That was it. And if this were a real TV show, I would just make my aioli now to save us time, but this isn't. This is our TV show, and we need that oil from the potatoes. So we're gonna wait like good boys and girls, and yeah, there's unfortunately not much to do now. Some people actually like to whisk their eggs and let them sit with salt. They say that it makes them thinner because the salt sort of breaks up the protein structure and makes it easier to mix in with your ingredients. I find there to be no harm, no foul. You can if you want to. Maybe because we need something to do, I'll do it right now. I have in the past set out to use 6 eggs, and then based on how it looks in the bowl when I mix it, depending if my potato was a little more, a little less, my onion was a little more, a little less, I may add an egg, but 6 is a really good place to start. There's no more satisfying task than cracking eggs and stacking shells. I'm cracking eggs and stacking shells is what I'm doing. Wow, gorgeous. This is an old habit that I picked up in pastry school. Pastry school? I didn't go to pastry school. This is an old habit I picked up when I was a pastry chef working in restaurants because it was like keeping everything neat and tidy, which does not come naturally to me. But I am a Virgo and I do like things neat and orderly and I like control, so I love to stack. I'm just gonna season these with a little bit of salt and then I'm gonna whisk. Also, wonderful task. So you just want to whisk until there's no like obvious strands of white. And in my experience, adding salt will help you get there. That's like scrambling your eggs in the morning, making an omelet, Like as soon as you add salt, it kind of does break up everything. So our potatoes and our onions are gently simmering away. They are barely bubbling, and that is exactly where we want them to be. I'm at a 4, and I'm seeing sporadic bubbles. I'm seeing tiny bubbles. This is gently heating and poaching and cooking the potatoes and the onions. And that will probably take, I'm gonna say 15 to 20 minutes. No big deal, just trying this out.
Whoa.
I like it, I gotta say I like it.
I love that.
How sick would it be to get a Dawn sponsorship? How sick would it be?
Okay.
You know, work a day in your life.
Lenny, hi. Wow.
He is beautiful. I think if he had a tail, he'd be too beautiful. The lack of tail makes him relatable, of course. After 15 beautiful minutes, our potatoes and our onions are cooked through. Dig in, find a potato that looks like maybe it was the thickest one you sliced, cut it and eat it. We're done here. That's it. That's the dish. Already so delicious. So we do want to let it cool slightly. The fastest way to do that is to remove the potatoes and the onions from the oil, so straining it. You want to do this very carefully. The oil is very hot, and the oil does need to be cooled for you to make the aioli. You do want to strain as much of it out as possible, but it's not like you need to make sure the potatoes are dry. You just want to make sure that there's not excess olive oil, but there will be olive oil in the tortilla by virtue of the fact that you just cooked all these potatoes and onions in your olive oil. Set that aside just for a second, just to get it cool-ish. Okay, there's a little bit left in here. I'm gonna use it in my skillet. I'll actually just put it in right now. Let's call that a tablespoon and a half. You want a nice coating. You can season with pepper if you want. I kind of like the aesthetic of no pepper in my tortilla. Personal choice. You don't have to wait till they're totally cool, but you do want to kind of start slowly. This is also to make sure that the potato and the onion are sort of evenly coated. When you dump it all in, it can get a little clumpy. These aren't hot enough that it's gonna cook the egg, especially because the egg was not hot. It's you don't have to worry about that. It is warm, but not too warm that I can't just move it around. You want egg between each layer, basically. Okay, so our mixture is mixed. Our skillet is hot. I'm at a 7, which is a medium high, and I'm gonna add my potatoes and my onions and my eggs to this oil. Stand back. You do wanna, an omelet, just kind of push everything in and out of the way to kind of give everything a head start. So move it and shake it, and then kind of flatten it. This is what basically gives you a cooked interior without putting it into the oven. Give it a shake every now and then just to make sure there's nothing sticking. And unlike a French omelet, you do want this to brown. Part of the goal is to brown it. I'm gonna reduce this to 6. You know why I like this? It reminds me of matzo brie. Matzo brie being the Jewish breakfasty food of soaked matzah, cooked with caramelized onions and eggs that my dad made for me growing up. My least popular video to date, but the most important to me. Anyway, it's starch plus caramelized onion plus fat plus egg equals this very specific smell to me, and I think that's why I like this so much. People ask me often what my thoughts are on nonstick skillets, and I think that my thoughts are that it is difficult to make a very nicely browned, effortlessly clean-sided, no-stick Spanish tortilla or omelet without one. And I don't need to be a hero. I don't need to figure it out or crack the code by doing it in a different type of skillet. It is possible, but it is just easier and better in a nonstick. We have browning. I like my Spanish tortilla to be pretty brown. It's almost about ready to flip. So that was 3 to 4 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. I'm turning the heat down to a 5 because as it starts to brown, I want to make sure that it can stay here long enough for the interior to start to cook. I want this as a snack. I want this as a portable treat. I want to slice it. I want to eat it on a plate. I want to grab a piece in the morning, blah, blah, blah. So I actually don't like it on the runny side. That's just this style of tortilla. This is not going to be a runny tortilla. This is going to be a pretty well set tortilla. So I'm gonna kill the heat. You can see that the top is still very custardy. And so when I flip it, some oil might drizzle to the sides. It is, I suppose, a fussy step. My friend Lauren doesn't flip. She just puts this under a broiler or a 450 oven, which you can definitely do and it will be delicious. But I do like to flip because the nonstick skillet really does make it easy and it isn't that difficult. That said, if you wanted to, at this stage, while the top is still kind of runny, put this into a 450-degree oven for 5 to 7 minutes. You will get set eggs. The top just will not be as browned, and you won't get that shape of a Spanish tortilla, which we'll see in a second. Okay, so the moment we've all been waiting for. Okay, so you put it on top, and with confidence, take the lid, press really hard on this plate, press really hard. Make sure it doesn't slide or slip anywhere, and then oh yeah, gorge. And then to sort of fully cook the bottom and then tuck the edges, I'm gonna put a little bit of the oil here, just like another tablespoon. Back on medium-high heat, and then just slide it back. Again, with confidence. One motion. It kind of looks like that's fine. Tuck it in, make it work for you. This tortilla works for you, you don't work for the tortilla. I could make you 10 of these today and they might all look a little different. And that's okay. That's okay. And that's okay. Okay, enough of that. All right, I'm gonna clean this plate because it has raw egg on it, and I'm gonna let this go like another 2 minutes. You're barely cooking this underside here. This isn't the most puck-shaped tortilla I've made, and that's okay. You know what, I'm gonna go ahead and say I should have added that 7th egg. We can all admit when we're wrong. Show the people what's really going on. So I would say that the second most important step of making a tortilla, I would say, is letting it rest. I think it kind of lets the whole thing settle into each other. So for this part, you literally just slide it off the old plate. And it looks beautiful. I don't even want to know what it looks like on the underside. It doesn't matter. But this is what it looks like here. Look at those egg yolks at work. I'm really proud of this one. It's rustic, and that's how I like it. That's not an accident. And again, that's why I kind of splurge on the nice eggs when I'm doing something like this, where the main focus is the egg and the potato. But I think a potato is more a potato, and an egg is not always just an egg. When you press it, it feels set, it feels springy. The longer it sits, and especially if you chill this overnight for like a true picnic snack the next day, it will be even more set and get really nice clean cuts. All right, it's aioli time. Everybody cheer up. I'm gonna start with the egg yolk. Sorry, it's not a glass bowl. I like doing things in a glass bowl so you can see it, but in aioli, I think, maybe it's superstition, I like doing it in a stainless steel bowl. Another case of what to use the good eggs for. You're literally eating raw egg yolk. And so you do wanna make sure that whatever egg you're using is of a high quality. Very little at a time here. I'm gonna slowly whisk in this oil. You do need to make sure that your oil is cool before you do this. If you wanna stabilize this with a little Dijon, you can. You don't have to add this little the whole time. It's just for the first like few to stabilize your emulsion. Okay, see how it's already thickening up? Okay. You'll know that your aioli is broken or not already by this stage if it doesn't look like this. If it does look sort of really thin and watery, it might be broken. You wanna add a little bit more oil before you start adding anything like water or acid. And now I can get a little bolder, a little bit more aggressive. So look how thick and sticky it looks now. Now's a good time to thin it out with a little bit of water or a little bit of vinegar. You're gonna add both at some point because if you only used lemon juice or vinegar, it would be too acidic and too thick. So using vinegar or lemon juice in conjunction with a little bit of water gets it to the right texture and the right acidity. At this stage, I am gonna also add a little bit of salt. And I'm gonna start with water just because. Make sure your water is cool. It's like maybe a teaspoon. And you'll notice it start to thin out, but also look creamier at the same time. That's good, we like that. I'm gonna add my garlic. All right, we're back to the oil. And you can start adding now like a full tablespoon at a time. Don't get too cavalier though. Is this as soothing to watch as it is to make? You tell me. Leave a comment below. Because this is a Spanish tortilla, I'm gonna use sherry vinegar, which hails from Spain. I'm gonna start with like half a teaspoon. So your aioli making experience will basically just be like a little dance between your ingredients: olive oil, vinegar, garlic, salt. Aioli is also just really fun to make because it is magical. All right, our aioli is done. She is thick, she is gloppy and glossy and very delicious. I don't think I want to add paprika to this. But if you do, I support you. I think you should. So, so delicious. Okay. I'm gonna put this in a bowl and then we're gonna slice our tortilla and eat it with the other friends. It can be like thinly sliced ham, a little tinned fish, a sardine might be nice, a little anchovy, if you will, a pickled pepper, some briny olives, caper berries, marinated artichoke hearts, that with like a big hunk of cheese, and I feel like that is the most elegant way, without cooking, make the entire experience feel like a full meal. Are you ready for the world's largest block of cheese that you've ever seen in your life? Call it lack of attention or call it bad luck, but every time I order something on Etsy, it is much bigger or much smaller than what I anticipated. The same thing happened to me when I bought this thing of cheese. I thought I was ordering like a regular sized thing of cheese. Not the case. What showed up was what you see before you, a 5-pound block of cheddar. I need a proper cheese knife. This is not gonna cut it. I love how I just made like a charcuterie board. Welcome to Home Movies. Today I'm making a charcuterie board. People would be so upset if I did that. Maybe as upset as when I did hard shell tacos. Oh my God. Well, if it's not a recipe, then how did I write one? Okay. So this is what you eat with the tortilla. This is the tortilla. So even layers, cooked egg, golden top, set bottom. Cute. How fun. Should I take a bite? It tastes so good to me. You can see how it lends itself to like excellent picnic snack. Bring this to the park, bring it to the beach, bring it to the lake, bring it to the stream, bring it to the pond, bring it to the pool. Maybe don't bring it to the pool, actually. So if you are doing this for the first time and you try to flip it and it gets all f***ed up, and do not despair, eat it anyway. It will taste good. Like, just try it again. You'll get there. It's not hard. It's just you do need sort of like a win to say that like, I can do it. And then you do it.
What's that all?
Signing off. I'm Alison Roman, and this was a Spanish Tortilla. Do you want some Trevor on there?
This is absolutely decadent. I've never seen such a thing.
You've never seen tortilla with
No. Oh my God, there's something here.